What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Liftoff. This is going to be a weekly podcast where I talk about general topics that I think that are pretty interesting that you guys might need to know. So I hope you enjoy the show. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to the Liftoff. It truly means a lot that you guys are actually listening to me. In today's Liftoff, we're going to be talking about taking time off from the gym. Since the beginning midweek of December to now, I've only worked about 3 times this whole in roughly about a month span. The main reason why is, you got the holidays, you had Christmas, New Year's Eve. And in between that, I got really, really sick. So the week after New Year's Eve, I was in no shape to even work out at all, which is, perfectly fine. Some people would actually probably go crazy if they weren't able to work out. I used to be like that, but, I realized that taking this month off from working out was actually a good thing for me because it let my body heal a little bit more. And I had my right knee has a little issue, and so taking that month off actually helped my knee out immensely. So it's quite alright taking that month off. A lot of the professional CrossFit athletes after the CrossFit Games do take a month off from working out because your body needs to heal, and they put their pedal to the metal, pretty much the whole year except for that month. So don't stress if you take time off from the gym. It's quite all right. But with me, when I started getting back into working out, I stopped for my max lift at 75% of my lifts because if I believed if I went any higher than that, I think that my form's going to be absolute garbage, and I didn't think I would get the right stimulus that I wanted for that workout. So just ease into it. Don't stress. It's not worth it. Your gains are going to come back. It's just slowly work into getting back to those higher percentages in those lifts, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But also work on form because that month off you may forget how to do a certain thing or just a certain movement, so just kind of ease into that as well. So last week, I actually posted on my stories some listener questions for my podcast, and there were some really, really good ones. I'm only going to do 2 today, and I'm going to do a couple maybe next week. So this is going to be a weekly show, other than the interviews that I have. So the first one is from @fit.labs, and he asked what any book recommendations. For me, I dabble in a little bit of both of fiction and like self-help books and biographies, and I got roughly a couple books that you might like. So my first fictional book that I love is Toys from Robert Patterson. It's pretty interesting. It's like a James Bond / Jason Bourne theme book, and it also has like robots as well in it. It's super interesting. The main thing I do really like about it is it's action packed and the chapters are super, super short. So when you're reading this, you finish a chapter, and then you look at the next chapter, you see how many pages is on the next chapter, and you're like, oh, I could finish this. I actually got it at an airport, and I probably finished it in like a day and a half. So that's a really, really good book to read, quick read, and it was really enjoyable. The other fictional book I have is Honor Majesty's Secret Service by Ian Fleming. This was my actual first James Bond book that I read. I'm a huge James Bond dork. I have like every movie from the James Bond series. I love Ian Fleming. He is super, super detailed when it comes to writing his books. And in this book, it is amazing. Like, it's action-packed, again, like just like toys, and super detailed on everything. So that is my favorite James Bond book to read. Also, for a biography, I do like the Arnold Schwarzenegger book, Total Recall. I got that actually at the library, and I read it, and it was unbelievable. I really, really, really did enjoy his story from when he was a kid to what happened, like, to now. So that's also a good book too. These will actually be on the show notes. So if you want to, check them out, be my guest. I know most of these books are probably in the library or at Barnes and Noble, but I'll put a link in the show notes so you can check out if you want to get them, go get them. They're really enjoyable. I've read these books multiple times. And also the next story, next question is from Galileo's Dressing. So they asked me what was my favorite childhood memories. I have a couple. So when I was playing Pop Warner football, so that's like the little Tykes football, every time I made a tackle or we did anything, I would always hear my mom like screaming at the top of her lungs saying, "Go Tommy, go!" And it was hilarious. And she actually used to cheer the whole time, even when I was in college playing lacrosse or basketball or football. Like, if you could always know that my mom was there at the games, because she screamed the absolute loudest. It was awesome. And also, the second one was, I think it was 15 maybe or 16. This is when this is kind of dating myself, but this is when the Sega Genesis came out, and for Christmas, my mom and dad said I can only get one thing for Christmas, and I asked for the Sega Genesis, and they said okay, and so I kept on asking if they got the Sega Genesis, and they kept on saying no. And when Christmas came along, I had maybe one or two presents, which is perfectly fine. I'm not being greedy whatsoever. And she wrote a note, and it was she said to check underneath her bed, and the Sega Genesis was underneath there, and I lost my mind. I immediately hooked it up, started playing, and got hooked on Sega Genesis. And also the one other one was driving home from playing sports or practice with my dad. Even though we talked a little bit, it was just enjoyable just being with my dad because he works so hard. When I was younger, I did see him, but it wasn't enough. So, but spending time with him when he picked me up from the practices or games or whatnot was super enjoyable, and I really do appreciate the time and the dedication that these my parents did to help me out or go to my games, and the hours that they've worked. It's made me a hard worker as well. So I really thank my parents for everything that they've done. So also, you could reach me at, that's at the end of the Liftoff, but you could reach me at Type 1 Lifting at Instagram or Twitter. I'm also going to do listener questions, or if you have any questions, just DM me and I will put them in the listener questions section of the Liftoff. So that's going to be it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And this is going to be a weekly episode, so I'm just going to talk about topics that I think that are important, and I would like to, see what your side of the story is too. So you could DM me, like I said, on Instagram or to Twitter, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. All right, have a good one.